What?
No, I just haven't been on a date in a while.
I can kind of tell.
Really? Well, all my previous girlfriends and I were friends first, so... You know, we all ancestrally dated each other in high school or university.
Right. Well, mentioning your previous girlfriends and using the word incest is usually something that you wouldn't do on a first date. Just as like a general. I think there was a review that came out recently that talked about the fact that we didn't have chemistry.
Really?
Yeah. But I think that's the point. I think it's forced. I think that there's... I mean, I disagree on some regard. I think that our chemistry was there. It was just a different kind. And I think that that's... You're right. It doesn't hide the fact that, you know, maybe these people came into each other's lives, but it's just not synced. It just doesn't vibe, you know? And I think that's the whole point. It was liberating in the sense that we got to play, right? So if you're going to cuts and you're cutting on coverage and all that kind of stuff, you have to match everything. Whereas if you're doing a bunch of masters, you can kind of play in that playground and doing whatever and bringing new things every time. But they were most definitely tedious. Like, there was a long walking shot in which 3/4 of it was cut. And it happened in Trinity Bellwoods, and we shot that scene. We took about like 20 takes to do that long walk and talk.
It was also the first day of filming.
Yes, it was.
So we were trying to still find the characters. It's very nerve-wracking to know that you don't get to get the scene right because you're just doing one long take. So you know that no take is going to be the full definitive version, especially when you're still finding something. So that was difficult for my mind to sort of digest and made me a little nervous. Because I'm like, we don't get to like cut this awkward part out and cut in for coverage and do the coverage a bunch of times. It's just sort of like you're left exposed as an actor.
It's just great because there's no possibility of ever getting it right. However it is, it is. Which is, I think, so unique and beautiful to who these people are. It's human, right? Not everything is going to be right or said the right way, and it's captured.
Well, it's really fun to have the camera not be too close and be allowed to move around enough space, which is unique to films. Usually when you're working, there's lights everywhere, and it is very technical, and, you know, I'm supposed to be having a scene with you, but there's like, you're like peeking around, or I don't even get to look at you. You're speaking from behind a flag, and there's a tennis ball that I'm looking at, and I'm like crying about my brother dying or something, you know. So it was really fun. I didn't even realize where the camera was a lot of the time. Yeah. It's like way over there, and you get to be a real person in the world.
What was the hardest take to do? I think I know your answer.
They were all hard. They were all had their own unique challenges, for sure. Yeah, they were like little marathons. It was like the scene, the whole movie, I feel like, was shot in like 5 big shots, which is really interesting. That you have a film, and it's just, the film is basically one take strung after another take, and there's basically 5 pieces of film in the whole movie, which is kind of unique.
It's very unique. I remember us having...
So they're little races. Like each scene was like its own little race, and you had to do it all in one big
and
go.
Before the big go or whatever, we would discuss intensely about why and how. I mean, we had a lot of opinions about why these people are saying what they're saying or doing what they're doing, and how they come together and why they come together and how does this make sense. So often we'd be at Matt's house just trying to make sense of it all. You know, because it's not something that could happen in the editing room where you can be like, okay, well, that doesn't really, so I'm just going to pull this close up to this. It's one big, long thing.
Yeah, you have to really, really know where the scene is going and what you want and what you're doing and how to drive it, and we have to both sync up. They're really challenging that way. I think probably the most...
You gonna say the sex scene?
Difficult, well, just in terms of the content, the sex scene was really difficult to have to experience over and over and over again. I also had like one of the worst migraines I've ever had in my life, and I was sick. I had like the flu.
So sick. So there's many variables in which
flu, capital F.
Oh yeah.
And a migraine, and I felt really bad because I'm sick, and we're like kissing. You were so generous. I was like, this must be so horrible and disgusting for poor Tommy. She's like, no, you're fine.
How many takes did you guys have to do for that one?
We did like
79
and a half takes.
And then one that was only half a take.
They're about 7 or 8.
Really? I thought it was more like 15 or something.
15 takes.
I don't know. I don't even remember anymore.
Gosh, it's free. He's open for collaboration. He's excited, so he's always talking, and he allows you to talk. Wow, is that your dog?
Yeah, she wants to join. Come here.
Come on, Kat.
You want to join?
What do you think about Matt's directing style?
Matt's directing style, I think, was very encouraging. I think more than anything, he wants to be your friend and relate to you and encourage you, because I think he is an actor and relates to being an actor. So I think his directing style, it's like in hockey they say like, oh, he's a player's coach, you know, like he really like understands the trials and tribulations of being a player and like really encourages you. He's an actor's director. Yeah, he really understands.
It's imperative as an actor, because often you work with directors that have no idea how to communicate. It's very technical. It has nothing to do with the character, the movement of the story.
And they almost seem to not like actors. Some directors,
yeah.
they just like don't like
that you're asking a question about, you know,
and they want you to just
like
be like a grip and do your job and like get it right.
Yeah, whereas with Matt, he can speak to you with the understanding and the actor's mind, you know, which is liberating.
You go first.
I collect. It was unintentional initially, but now everywhere I go, I'm hoping that I can get one. I collect mugs, and I also want to start collecting condiments.
Oh God, I thought you said we're gonna say condoms.
I love
also
condoms.
love collecting
Zins. Condiments are the best, like different kinds of mustards and jams and jellies and hot sauce.
Okay.
I want more of those things in my fridge, and mugs. I love a mug because I use it every day. I can remember where I've been and I drink out of it.
I do love mugs too. Yeah, I think me and my fiance, we kind of collect pottery. Now that you mention it, mugs. We just go to thrift stores and buy like a $2 plate.
Yeah.
Or like a mug, or like a jug. We just love something that someone made, and now it's like and now like it's sitting. It's completely one of a kind. You turn over, you see the person's little signature, and it's all like flawed. It's in the thrift store, and someone's like, "Oh, I didn't make this quite right," and it's like a little funky looking.
Yeah.
The other day, she's in my room when I wake up, and she's naked. She's just sitting there naked. Apparently, she's a nudist now. I'm thinking, how can you be a nudist if you don't leave the apartment? You're not a nudist, you're just naked at home.
Okay, right. What's the problem? Really, there is a naked girl walking around your apartment.
Yeah, but she's like my sister. It's not like she's like dirty too. Not sexy dirty, like dirty, dirt.
So then, have you said anything?
No.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question.